We've had some intense heat lately, 116 or something like that yesterday. A lot of us think about staying cool, but also we got to think about protecting our skin as we get out there in the water. Hey, this morning we're busting some common myths and what you should know before you head out the door. To share more, we've got Dr. Janice Wilson, a dermatologist with UTMB. Thank you for joining us. Good morning. I think we may have an audio issue. I don't know that she can hear us yet. When she can, we will be able to go right over there and talk to her about all of these myths and whether they are true or not. Let's see if we get it. All right, let's try again. Yay! Okay, good morning. All right, we fixed it. All right, so we're talking about myths. Once again, Dr. Janice Wilson, dermatologist with UTMB. Good morning.
Happy to be here. Good morning.
All right, so whether it's the pool, out on the ball field, running errand, how much sun exposure does it take to damage our skin?
It actually doesn't take much. I think a common misconception is that damage only occurs after prolonged sun exposure and sunburn. But most of the skin cancers that we see and the photoaging actually occurs with the small amounts of sun that you get just from walking from the door of your house or work to the car. So that's why dermatologists always recommend wearing a daily sunscreen, even if you don't plan on being out in the sun for a long time.
Okay, so here's a sunscreen question. Does a higher SPF mean you only apply it like once a day, or do you still have to reapply even if you have a really high SPF?
Yeah, so you definitely have to reapply. Unfortunately, higher SPF does not take that away. SPF is actually a measure of how much energy from the sun that you can be exposed to without sunburn with that product, not time. Also, sunscreen ingredients are inherently photolabile. That's actually how they work. So sunscreen particles absorb photons and then they're used up. So after they're used up, after 90 to 120 minutes, there are no more active sunscreen ingredients left on your skin, no matter what the SPF is. So you have to reapply every 90 to 120 minutes.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's great. Okay, let's talk about base tan, or what one friend calls a base burn. A lot of people think getting it helps to prevent the sunburn. Is there any truth to that?
Unfortunately, there's no truth to that either. A base tan is an estimated SPF of only about 3 to 4, and you wouldn't buy a sunscreen of an SPF 3 to 4. And additionally, any amount of UV that's required to get a base tan is also damaging the DNA in your skin cells and contributing to carcinogenesis and photoaging as well.
Okay, here's another big one and a common one. I've heard it, that people with darker skin tones don't need sunscreen, or maybe they don't need as much of it. Is there any truth to that?
There is some truth to that in the sense that highly melanated skin does give some protection to the sun, but there is still skin cancer that occurs in skin of color, and people with highly melanated skin also often struggle with conditions like hyperpigmentation, and the UV sunscreen, protection against the UV with sunscreen is the best way to help treat and prevent against those conditions as well. So sunscreen is important for all skin types.
Okay, now no doubt you've seen advice that's not good, that's not true on social media and other places. What that we have not mentioned do you think about the most, or do you bust the most, a myth about sun protection?
I think that sunscreen is dangerous in some way, is one of the biggest myths out there, that it somehow is contributing to carcinogenesis, or that somehow dermatologists or medicine are recommending sunscreen for our own benefit. I mean, in fact, if people didn't wear sunscreen, we'd have a lot more business. So there's really no reason for us to recommend sunscreen for our own benefit. It's definitely for your benefit. So it's definitely good for you.
That's a real basic one and a real easy one. Anything else that you would add? And we have about 30 seconds left. I'm trying to think of other myths that I've heard, and I really don't have any. All the ones that I've mentioned, I've definitely heard.
Yeah, I mean, I think you covered the basic ones, and my biggest takeaway is the only safe tan is a fake tan.
The only safe tan is a fake tan. Yeah. Hey, okay, there we go. We're going to make it a headline, make it a shirt. Hey, thank you, Dr. Wilson, so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you so much.